All right, here with FLACO. Man, other than we just did a video on your channel, but other than that, man, it's been a few months since I've talked to you really, and much less had you on my channel.
Yeah.
So
You know,
just welcome back, man. It's good to see you.
I always appreciate to be here, man.
Yeah. So I think I had shared with you on the last one that this is a brand new channel that I have one, the church one. That way the devotionals, the Bible studies, the sermons can be on that channel. And this is a little bit more personal to me. Um, More interviews, more lives, more sometimes book reviews, movie reviews. Even me, I'll probably start painting and just go live and as I'm painting, you know what I mean? So I'm more open to do those things on this channel. So but yeah, I wanted to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, no, another topic too. It's a good one.
Yeah. So before we get into it, let the viewers know how you've been.
I've been doing okay, man. It's been a very up and down year. You know what I'm saying? I had some setbacks along the ways, man, where things were going really smooth for a while. It's been a little bit more difficult. I think in January I had a situation to where child support levied $7,300 out of my bank account, left with $147. Where I had bills on top of bills on top of bills. You know what I'm saying? I went through that situation. There's been different things, different bumps in the roads. YouTube is very there's a lot more to it that people don't know behind the scenes. It's very, very difficult to try to find your balance. The more you grow, the more people start to attack you, and you're never given that due process in how people judge you. Sometimes I feel, but I'm starting to learn how to deal with it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I also came out a documentary that's going to be coming out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I got to get the information for the platforms. It's called 1 Second at a Time. It was directed by producer John Corey. He's done stuff like he did what do you call the Commandments, the animated one, the Christian Slater. He's the one that produced that one. He did the Bobby Bowden Dynasty. He did films before and early in his career. He did stuff with like The Rock, Stifler from American Pie. So he's a well-established producer.
Wow.
But it was really interesting. It was really interesting to do that, man, and to see how they operate. We did it right there along the border in San Diego. We actually got permission from the Border Patrol, I guess, to be able to fly the drones.
Wow.
And it was cool. It was cool. I got to meet the individual's father, who the movie's based upon, which is a young lady who suffered through dual diagnosis, which for the listeners out there who are in recovery means you have an addiction and a mental health issue combined. And he's trying to bring awareness. And a lot of it had to do with fentanyl. Fentanyl is really.
Are you in a huge part of this or a part of it or?
I'm in it. I lined them up with a couple other things. People that I know from the former life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I talked about my past experience. And I also talked about how I interviewed people out for the streets. I've done interviews with several people out there. And the common thing when we started the channel was it was supposed to just be a homeless channel. What we found out was most of these people were on fentanyl. And it was nothing like the old school homeless when we were growing up, where you see maybe one or two people and, you're seeing them everywhere. And the effects of what you're seeing with these people, you're seeing like 14-year-old kids out there in the streets strung out. You're having overdoses in almost every community, almost every day. People are dying from this, man. It's the highest death rate between the ages of 18 and 42 in the United States of America at this time. And there's not enough attention. And so, I commend this man who decided to take this leap because, when you lose a child, I've never lost a child, but I can only imagine how it would feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so this right here is therapy for him because he's doing something in behalf of his daughter. So it's gonna be a good film, man. I mean, I don't think I'm in it longer than maybe 3 to 5 minutes, but hey,
that's cool,
I give my little credit.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, your camera got dark and then light. I did watch a couple of your interviews. I remember specifically this. You were talking to a couple. They were homeless, and they're talking about doing fentanyl. You know what I mean? And I remember watching that, and I was like, man, that's a whole other level. You know what I mean? So yeah, I remember seeing that
See,
YouTube video.
that's what drew him, is the way I was getting at these people, because I was asking them like, hey, I'll take you to a recovery house. I was explaining my story. Even off camera, there's a lot of things when I talk to these people that people don't realize. I sit there for like 20, 30 minutes trying to help them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's seen that and he goes, okay, for one, it's not staged. Like, okay, let's get a nice setting and have you do your hair, put makeup. No, it's raw. And I'm speaking from the heart when I talk to these people. So he's seen that and he wanted to reach out to that. So he's going to use some of the interviews I did.
Oh, wow.
On the movie, as well as they're going to have someone typing up and they're going to be pulling up that channel. So hopefully we get a splurge of subscribers based upon that, a little bit of support. So I need to start going out there and getting interviews.
So this is a spinoff from those videos you did on YouTube?
Yes, we have a whole different channel that we just changed the name.
Wow.
It's Broken Dreams at first, but now it's Pictures of Reality.
Okay.
You know, I took Real Talk with FLACO. When Ro had to leave because of work, right? I decided to make Convicts Perspective just all the gang crazy stuff, whatever it may be, and make this channel the stuff about homeless, addiction, so forth, because we needed to launch a new channel because we had 3 partners in that original channel. Yeah. One of them decided to leave. So I said, okay, I got a channel that's 14,000 subscribers. So that's why sometimes you'll see me uploading 2-3 videos a day. They may be old.
Yeah.
It's because I'm moving the content over and I don't want to just put 200 videos one shot. You know what I mean?
So for somebody that's watching this and they have no idea who you are, I want to say this is, number one, you have Convicts Perspective YouTube channel. I think you're at 26,000 subscribers, I believe.
26,000 subscribers. And Rojo was a big part of that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Just as much impact. They thought the channel was going to die, and I've been really pushing really hard lately. And
I remember going to your channel before you guys showed your faces. I remember, and it was all I knew was your voice and Rojo's voice. And man, I remember the Q&As. It was cool stuff, you know what I mean? And that's what caught my attention. That's when I subscribed even back then.
Yeah.
So both of you did amazing, man. And obviously a lot of other people agreed, But since then, I guess it comes back to today's subject is that this YouTube world has caused a new culture to rise up in a sense, and everywhere, whether it's for cooking shows or prison or motorcycles or aquarium enthusiasts or whatever, it's created these little cultures and of YouTube content creators. So my question is this: what are, in your opinion, the negatives of it and the positives of it?
I've had everything occur to me, man, like in the last 6 to 9 months. And, the thing I can sit there and say the worst part of it is at times I don't know who to trust. And that's just me being as honest and transparent as I can be, because there's so many people that spread rumors and falsify stuff. And then you hear this person said this and that, and you confront them, and everybody denies it. Nobody wants to go to the forefront and say, let's get everything out there to find out what's up. So you don't know who to trust. It's like, okay, and I've had some things that were not cool that happened, man, that just were like, I'm saying that really affected me, because it was frustrating, because I didn't like being slandered in a way. I didn't like hearing that it was people that I knew that were slandering me and stuff like that. I didn't like that I wasn't getting no support from people that I felt that I did everything I could to help people. A lot of people are on YouTube because of me, and I don't mean to sit there and preach that. And I'm not taking any shots at anybody when I say that, but that's the truth. Everybody knows that. And for when I was going through these trials and tribulations, man, I didn't really have anybody that was sitting there, okay, you know what, man, this is wrong. This is like what they do this. This is wrong. No, people only want to worry about themselves. So you start to learn that people are only going to be concerned about themselves. And you could be in the right, but people don't want to get involved. And so that just comes back to the vices that people have in character, man. And that's the worst thing that I can sit there and say happened, because it consumed me. It frustrated me. It caused a little tension in my relationship, my marriage, all kinds of things were affected by it, man. And I don't think people realize that, certain actions, man, like, you got to sit there and, I've always been a firm believer, man, and right is right, wrong is wrong. And I've always stood behind that, you know what I'm saying? And I got to learn that my expectations of what's right and wrong may not be what the next person is. And it's a true testament of what their character is worth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the worst thing that's happened. Is that sometimes I've had to isolate myself. You know what I'm saying? I've had to withdraw myself from people, man, and I'm okay with that, though. I don't have no hate or animosity towards anybody. I just want to just do me and do what I need to do, because I want to get back on track to where I was before. Because when I first came in doing this thing, I had a whole positive, full energy in everything I was doing, but I didn't have all the theatrics of everybody else, the negativity. And it's like, man, I've seen a lot of stuff, man. And nobody's innocent of it, man. There's a lot of stuff that when, as a YouTuber, you step back and you're like, man, I can't believe this is like junior high stuff, and we're supposed to be grown man. We're supposed to be adults. We're supposed to be positive. It's like, man, and I get sucked into it. That's the kind of stuff that I've experienced, man. And I probably have even dived into my own exes at times, but the one thing about me is that no matter what I've experienced or what I do, I can always make sure I bounce back from it. I don't let it overconsume me. But there was a lot of stuff going on in my life, man, that was very, very hard for me.
So real quick, in case somebody's watching this and don't know, what is your channel based on? If you had to quickly summarize who you are and what your channel is based on, what would you say?
Okay, so I look at it at first. When I first started doing this, it was another route for me to do things to help others. Because at that time, a couple of years ago, I was deeply in recovery. I was sponsoring, man. I was doing H&I commitments, and we had the COVID. And it became about helping people and a little extra money, and then it became a career as well. It eventually became a career because I enjoyed doing it. I don't look at myself. I look at myself as, how you say it, the right word, a positive channel, but not a positive channel, if that makes sense. I'm bringing information for people that they want to learn about things. I do offer assistance at times. There's certain things that I don't put out there, because one thing that I learned is you have to be altruistic in your actions. So I don't like to sit there and always glorify as far as, okay, I helped this person in life, they were struggling, this and that, because I have my own personal struggles. There's people that have helped me out.
Yeah.
So I'm always there to help people. People know this. They can reach out to me on IG or social media, and I respond. I'm there. I've experienced numerous situations. So, but I also get that sometimes you have to sit there and entertain your listeners and maybe let them gravitate towards what your true agenda is, which is to try to help people. I'm not about, uniting North or South. I'm against all that. I'm about letting people step away from the gang lifestyle and be better men, be better human beings. That's my whole goal, because, if you're trying to unite one, you're creating a super gang. And all that's going to eventually happen is it's going to be the same conflict and issues that are going to happen all over again. So my goal is to try to help people make choices, informative choices, to where they can make these decisions and know what they're getting into. If you want to be a gang member and you want to go full blast, you want to become a one that plays prison politics, know what you're getting into. And if you can accept it, then by all means, if that's what you want, you can do it. But if, we didn't have that stuff as kids. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have people telling us what the life was about.
Yeah.
Back then you had Victory Outreach. And no disrespect to Victory Outreach, man, but half the time dudes that were coming to talk to us were fucking, excuse my language, were loaded on heroin.
Yeah.
Trying to tell us how to live life. You know what I mean? You see them now as a talk, and sometimes they used to separate who they want to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be at a school, these OGs wouldn't even come over there and even talk to me, man. I was probably the worst one out of everybody. So, you know what I mean? I'm like, look what you turned me into.
So the name Convicts Perspective, obviously, for those that don't know who you are, you're a convict, right? So how much time did you do altogether?
Man, I think the total time I've estimated to be about 13 years.
It's a long time.
But it's spread out. I mean, over the last time I was in jail was in 2016.
Yeah. I
haven't been back. But before that, from 2016 to 2007, it was in and out. I think the longest time I did was maybe a year. And I was living in Alameda County. Anybody that's from Alameda County, you get caught with certain cases, they just drop to a misdemeanor. Violate your probation to kick you out like 30 days, 2 months. And that happens over and over again. Where if you get busted in Santa Clara County, the same charges, you're going to be sent to prison over.
Yeah, yeah.
But my most of my time, I think, was done between the ages of like 15 to probably like 20, 29.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's when I did the majority of my time. My first prison stint, I was 18 years old. It was for a drive-by shooting. I did 5 years. I had halftime. I ended up maxing out because I was a little knucklehead, So I did almost the whole 5 years the first time. But previously, before that, I did about 15 months in the Boys Ranch.
Where was that at?
Morgan Hill, James Boys Ranch.
So before I ask you the positive of YouTube, I'm going to share my negative, what I see in the YouTube world is, as a pastor, right, is that for the longest time, I would see certain Christian channels growing and they're growing and growing. And I'd be like 300 views, 320 views, and they're just getting like thousands, right? And I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? Do I need to put some LEDs in the back or something? Like, what am I doing wrong? But you know what it is I realize, man, is that unfortunately you have to find a balance, because obviously you're doing content to get views. Obviously you want views, but not at the point of selling your soul. And what I mean by that is I realize that, and not taking away anything from some of these Christian channels, because they do have good content, but when you look at their thumbnails and the titles, you realize it's controversy that drives up, you know, so they'll be like, is Beyonce a witch? You know what I mean? Or, you know, just crazy, like stuff like that. And regardless of the truth of whatever, you use the craziest titles, the craziest thumbnails to get the most views. And then I realized, you know what? I don't do that. You know, when I do a devotional or sermon or whatever, I'm doing it out of my heart. Now, I do want to maximize my views, but not at the point of clickbait, you know? And so it's hard to compete when you have some people that are blatantly, and they're just, that's what they're going for, you know what I mean? And it's hard when you really want to put real content of real life, of real advice, of real, you know, from your heart, you know what I mean? And it's hard to compete with that. That's my negative that I see that YouTube has created, because everybody has one of these. So that means everybody's capable of having a channel. So unfortunately, sometimes it can get so bad that this could lead to your death. And we've seen that happen recently.
Yes, you know? Yes. We're going to talk about that. I want to talk about that as well. So I agree with you 100%, because my best videos, the ones I like the best, are the positive. They're about recidivism. They're about addiction. They're about the trials and everything. They're about change. They get the least amount of views. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, so I've also turned this into basically a livelihood. You know what I'm saying? This is work for me. So I work, you know, I interview people. I do a whole lot of different things as well, man. So I do have to check my moral compass from time to time. I have put out content that maybe I should have put out before. You know what I'm saying? I have probably put out content before that I knew that it was going to get the views, and if there was nothing maybe positive behind it. I am guilty of that. I admit that. I may even do it again in the future. Keep it real. It happens. You know what I mean? You're not thinking at the time. You're like, you know what, this is going to go, and you know what I mean? Let's just run it. Yeah. You know, like, man, I really have ran that video, you know? But see, that's the hard part, man, is that, like you said, there's people who it becomes a competition, and I don't like to turn things into competition because it's no longer fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I like to sit there and like drop my content, have people appreciate it and whatnot. But the reality of it is you're going to have all kinds of people that are going to troll you. They're going to do this and that. They're going to try to get you out of character. You just got to learn how to accept it, man. And I think was Savage's downfall. Savage Studios was being young and being attacked so fast after he just got tons of subscribers. He didn't initially react to it right, which people don't understand. He was a kid. He was just a kid. He was probably he died at 31, but around the time when he was dropping his videos, he's like 27. Yeah. You know, you're still a kid at that age. You know, I don't think you start to mature and grow till you're in your late 30s. Yeah. You know, you still hold on to certain things, man. And, you know, that's unfortunate what happened, man. You know, and everybody
I never knew him. I don't think he ever addressed me. Maybe for the boxing match, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. But nevertheless, man, I mean, that's a life lost, man. That's a life lost, you know. And I liked what I was watching Cholo Trucker the other day. And I forgot, I think who was he talking to? I don't remember who was, but he brought it up and one time, and he said, you know what, let's be honest. When I was that age, I that's the way I talk too.
Exactly.
You know, exactly. And I mean, me in my 20s, bro, I'm surprised I'm still here. You know, So it's easy. That's another thing about this YouTube world, is unfortunately it fossilizes every word you say,
Yes.
and it doesn't go away. What I mean? So it's unfortunate, man. I didn't know the guy. Yeah, he said some stuff that even made me upset sometimes, because some of the people he was talking about were people I knew, but when it comes down to it, man, I mean, that's a life. That is a life, man. That's the most precious thing on this earth, is a life. You know what I mean? And we have all had an opportunity to change. At
Yeah.
one time, I stood for something that maybe I deserved death, but God had been gracious, and here I am today as a changed man. I have had people email me and say, I hate you. I hate everything you stand for. You're a pastor now, but my brother, or my dad used to listen to you, and they followed you, and they got murdered, and they're dead, and now they don't get a second chance, but you do. You know what I mean? I'm like, what do I say? I mean, that weighs on my shoulders, man. I realize that there's been horrible things that have happened, atrocities, because of the music I did. I know that.
But you know what? You know what my personal opinion on that is?
Yeah.
You didn't really have anything to do with that, because they all have an individual choice. And if you let another person who just is a musician have that much control over your actions in your life, there's something wrong there. That wasn't you doing it. That was them.
Yeah.
They may have agreed with what you were saying because that's the part of that lifestyle. All you were talking about was that lifestyle. Yeah. So the guilt that you maybe have about that, I disagree. Because regardless of you were pushing that CD or not, the same stuff was going to still happen out there in the streets. Because I was living that life to the fullest out there. Prior to me catching my case, I never gang banged harder in my life, but in that time there. And when I got out, when your CD came out, gang banging kind of wasn't like it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is from me to you. I think that if any man lets a rap artist or another man or musician have that much influence just because they did a song, I'm not buying it. They did that because they chose to. Maybe that song pumped them up, but their intentions were always going to be there.
I have a friend of mine. He did time with me in Atwater. His name is Ricardo. He's on my Facebook. I remember when he first came in, because that was when I made my points down to get to a camp, right? Mm-hmm. And he was kind of a little starstruck, you know what I mean? And he's like, man, I can't believe I'm here, and you're Sir Dino, and so everything was cool. And then he goes, man, my brother idolized you, and I'm like, man, tell him I said hi, man, because he knew I was a Christian now and everything. And he goes, oh no, he got murdered. And I'm like, oh man. And then he said this, he goes, he had I think a Monte Carlo or Cutlass or something. He goes, and I helped him wash it and clean it. And then he was going to go to the store to get something. I didn't go with him. And that was the last time I saw him. He goes, some Southsiders saw him, and he goes, he wanted to be like you. He wanted to be like Sir Dino, and he got killed. Right. So then I felt awkward. And kind of the same thing what you're saying right now is he goes, no. He goes, I don't hold that against you. He goes, my brother made the choices that he made, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you know what I mean? But, it's kind of messed up to hear that, of course I feel bad. I feel bad at any loss of life or whatever, So,
I feel more guilty about other things I've talked about than like, as far as like, moving a lot of product in the community. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I moved a lot of product out through the streets, man. Like, a lot. And you don't think that you have a indirect hand in what the effects could be in your own community. That same, if I'm picking up 5-10 pounds of meth and I'm dropping it off to my workers to go do what they do, you know how the game goes. I may not be the one that's selling that 16 to that mother over there that has a newborn baby, you know what I'm saying? But it's still coming from me. I'm still responsible because I'm pushing this product out to the streets. I decided to do that. Those are the things I feel guilty.
No, me too. That's a whole other level too. Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't think that, right now, like with these counterfeit blue pills, they're M30 Percocets. They're being made in Mexico, really cheap, and they're putting fentanyl on it. And 2 in every 5 pills is deadly. So people are knowingly getting a product that's being made over there. They're bringing different chemists from India or China to teach them how to make it over there, or they're there to make it. And you never know what you're putting in your body or how it's been manufactured. And people are dying all the time. Now that for me, that's even higher than what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you could die off meth, but it was very rare that that would happen. The things that would happen during that would be, you know, kids being victimized, women allowing undesirable men into their household. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that happens. Yeah. And we have to have that conscience that, man, look, if we're going to push product in our community, yeah, everybody got to eat, make money, but is this the right way? You have to have a little bit of a moral compass. I didn't have a moral compass back then, man, because my excuse was this. It was like, well, somebody's going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which again comes back to this YouTube world, is that I think that we have to regulate ourselves and be responsible, you know, because we don't know who's watching. We have to hold ourselves. Okay, same way, when you walk the yard, do you not got to hold yourself to the utmost respect possible?
Yeah, you do.
So we should be like that on camera. You know what I mean? So yeah. Now
I agree. I 100% agree, because you know what? You know, wherever you're from, whatever, some people we know better, but like it's like that type of behavior. If you're in prison, what are you going to call it? It's called what we call it. Some people, you know what I'm saying? That's the reality of it, man. I wasn't acting like that in prison.
Yeah,
I mean, those were the good things I learned in prison. Prison was how to conduct myself, professionalism, discipline.
You had to. You had to.
Now people are on YouTube and they let everything out, man. And you know, that's the thing too, though, man. Is sometimes on YouTube you got to quit worrying about what the next person's doing. It's so easy to get sucked up into that. I see.
But we
all the time, man.
We can't control other people, but what we have control of is our own self and how we act, how we carry ourselves. That is why, like, as a pastor, I can go to Tony A's show. His show is way far from Christianity, but the way I carry myself, I'm going to carry myself appropriately, and the way I would with the congregation, I'm going to be the same way there. You know what I mean? So I think this, sometimes we forget, because it's a phone aiming at us, and we forget that there's people on the other side watching.
That's very true, man. It's, you know, anything can happen too, man. Like you were talking about Savage Studios. Do you know I was the last person to interview?
I know.
You know what I mean? So that kind of, I wanted to make that trip to see him and interview him, because you know what, man, I seen what was going on, and I felt like that nobody was reaching out to him like they should have been. You know what I mean? He was young, you know what I'm saying? And I actually went over there and had a very good conversation. And a lot of people didn't want to reach out to him because of some of the comments that he made. You know what I'm saying? And they were fearful of whatever ramifications could come from that.
Yeah.
I'm a citizen. I don't play that gang stuff. I used to be involved in that, but I don't look at myself like that today.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to be, you know, out there in Stockton or Salinas out there on the corner. Hey, I'm here. But I'm not going to live my life in fear in what I do. Yeah. It does. I do have to tone some things down that I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, with him, it's just unfortunate that because he actually helped me when I met up with him. There were certain things that he experienced that I was on the borderline of experiencing that he gave me insight.
Wow.
You know what I mean? First, he's calling me, you know, OG, because I'm lacing up on some things. Now he's talking to me on some real stuff. I'm like, man, this is what I'm experiencing. I'm starting to see that. And it was very helpful, man. So it was really sad. I mean, we did it. That interview we did was pretty good. Some people had a little bit of misinterpretation that maybe he was campaigning in the beginning. But if you look at what he said at the end, he was pro. That's the first time you heard him say support all raza. No more bloodshed. That's the first time he's ever said that ever. Wow. And that's the bad thing about it. Guys, every other thing, he's a very intelligent dude, but sometimes his emotions and feelings would come out, and you know. And then he even said he wanted me to take out the part where he said that's the S part, politics. That's what they used to call it, and it's a derogatory term we used to use. And I couldn't even do it, man. I couldn't even fix it, man. I'm like, 'cause I'm driving, I'm like, I want to upload this, but his attitude had changed, you know, a little bit, man. He still had a lot of work to do, but
yeah, I think I remember now. I think it was Cholo Trucker, Paul, and Big Joe. They were talking about it. It was their one video that they talked about it. And Joe, I want to say Joe, one of them, basically it comes down to this, is that Savage had heard the gospel a few times.
Yes, he had.
He's heard the gospel. And because of that, I had people on my comments saying, hey, he went to hell, huh? Hey, you know, and I'm just, because I'm a pastor, you know, and I'm just like, whoa. First of all, none of us have that right to say that, because we don't know the last minutes, the last seconds of anybody's life. Because if God was gracious enough to save David Rocha, you think he doesn't have enough grace to reach him in his last moments?
He was bringing up God when I talked to him.
Yeah, so
he was still halfway in, halfway out on a lot of other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
and here's the thing, and that might have fast forwarded to those last. You think if he knew, if he knows the gospel, heard the gospel, and he's leaking out, what else is he going to think of? What else? You know, but his maker. You know what I mean? So, now, of course, me as a Christian pastor, I'm going to say, when somebody dies in their sins, the Bible says they go to hell. I said, but we don't know what happened. And you weren't there. I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So I would never put myself in that position to answer a question like that. All I will say is actually, I mean, what I'm saying is that I rejoiced when I heard that he had heard the gospel a few times, because then that lets me know.
He did because he brought that up to me. Like, he brought up God a few times.
Yeah.
Like, I got to take it to the man above. I got to give it to the man above. He said stuff like that.
Yeah. Because even the Bible says, the Bible says that God rejoices in nobody being lost.
You know, what I did was I looked deeper into his personality. I looked past some of the shenanigans that times that would come out. And that's why I wanted to go over there and you know, I wanted to interview him, but I actually stayed out that way. And you know, when you watch someone, I mean, from a person like me that's you know, a little bit more mature, we've experienced life, he was asking for help. All you have to do is look at everything he was doing. He was asking for help. He just didn't know how to go about it because of that alpha male type of mentality that he had. So when we had a discussion, I noticed that as soon as he was finding ways to help me and bring out the stuff that he was going through, you seen that shift in him. You know what I'm saying? Which was cool, man. And you know, I hope that he made his peace, man. It's unfortunate what happened. I don't want to talk about it because it's still an open case, even though the person's been charged. It's not my business, and I don't want to dive into the different rumors that are going on out there. But I will talk about him. You know, it's just sad anytime that anybody loses a life, man, because that's someone's son, that's someone's father, brother, and so forth. And sometimes people don't realize that, man.
Yeah, no,
you know,
I agree.
People can't. It comes back to what we just did in the video on my channel. People need to humanize the situation. If people started humanizing every situation when it comes to interactions and people's feelings and emotions, you'd have a lot more mutual understanding with that person, man.
Yeah, what I was always hoping for is as YouTube content creators, we have to be even more understanding because in the same way, for instance, you got 26,000 subscribers. That means at the very least, there's 26,000 people that know who you are, but you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Or somebody has 50,000 subscribers or 100,000. So, you know, we need to be a little more understanding, you know what I mean? And
it's hard as your channel grows. It's hard, man. Like, you know, it's difficult, Rocha. Yeah. It's difficult, man. I've experienced some stuff, man, because I don't really come out with those type of intentions, man. The stuff that I've seen and heard and witnessed, it's unthinkable. It's almost like, what's the right word, man? It's basically games. People play games.
Yeah.
You know, people get jealous. People try to attack in different ways. I mean, like, I went through a lot, man. And not to say that I was probably right on everything, man. And I'm not talking about any particular person. There's a whole bunch of people, man. And all I want to do was be left alone and just push content, man. You know what I'm saying? And just people just don't understand that, you know, we have families, we have kids, we have a life. And some things aren't meant to be joked about. And it's like, man, I swear to God, on a lot of things, it took every ounce of me. I mean, I almost went back to some old behaviors over it. And because I felt, like I said, if you come on YouTube, you got to do things the right way. You got to be healthy. You got to set boundaries with everybody. If you open up to too many people, you're going to open yourself up for BS to happen. And I'm not the only person that goes through it. Everybody does. There's a time period where everybody goes through this BS on YouTube. And you witnessed it. And it's like, man, now I got the attitude. If it happens, it's like, oh, it's better them than me. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of mentality people start to have.
I mean, everybody, think about it. I have seen you know, get attacked and you struggle with it. I have seen Gunner get attacked and struggle. I've seen American Cholo recently, who I've seen Tony A, man. That was a big one. stuff he went through, all the way down the line. You know what I mean? And
see the thing with that is this, right? I don't mind if you attack me on something and it's the right thing, and I'm okay. But when you got people, I got family, I got kids, I got this and that. People start to fucking put false shit out there that isn't true. That's what I have a problem with, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's people that see that and they thrive upon it. They want to capitalize off it because they know it's gonna push your buttons. I've had everything from man, you don't even understand. I don't even want to open them doors, man.
Check this out. The other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I got a little upset, man, because I was on YouTube and I saw a 60-minute segment about Operation Black Widow that came out in 2005. And the guy that told is on camera telling. And the reason, this is why I got upset, because I released in 2010. People made accusations about me. People said things about me. Matter of fact, it was because you and Rojo, that's where it started cleaning up. A lot of the mess that some people were thinking about me. This is why I got a little upset, because I told my wife, I said, so up until FLACO and Rojo because their channel was blowing up and they kind of told the truth of what happened as far as me. But what if something would have happened to me in that time, but yet on 60 Minutes, they have the guy himself on camera with the fake mustache and glasses in 2005. So it's like, what?
For the viewers out there, I was able to tell Dino everything that happened, who was sent, who got at him, where they went, who was with them. You know what I mean? That even this had to happen with everybody. You know what I mean? I was able to tell you everything that happened on that, man. And a lot of people didn't understand that. That whole purpose for when they were sent over there was because none of them were on probation or parole, right? They were the ones that were communicating with the guys over there. They wanted to see if you were telling because you didn't show up to court and you bailed out. That was the whole purpose to go over there. And then afterwards is when they said, okay, well, we need you to plug in. One guy wanted to tax you and so forth and all that. Yeah. I know the whole story about that. Huh? And but that pretty much the dead issue from there on out. You know what I'm saying? And even when you went Christian, it was already not a non-issue, because there's been times in the county jail where people have been allowed to go Christian as long as they don't hold no NSO dollar status or an NF member. There was times where a filter came out decording them saying, if anybody wants to walk away for Christian reasons, go ahead. See, the problem is you walked away on the right terms because you believed in it. You didn't walk away when, there was Jedi going on, there was war, there was conflict, because that would maybe be viewed as a cowardice act. I've said this before. I'm a firm believer in anybody that picks up the Bible, believes in it. Because I've read the Bible, I believe in it wholeheartedly as well, right? But even then, I was still rock with the people, right? But there was those back in the days, right? This is a true story that would get sent down south, or the prisons where they make you put on your shirts and try to dictate your program, right? That would pick up the Bible as soon as they got to the prison yard.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that? I'm curious from you, because I always looked down upon it. I always felt that if you're going to make that leap of faith, part of me said, I know what you're going to probably say, however you get there, you get there.
Well,
right?
No, not so much, because here's the thing, right? In the same way, because I know that I was really serving God wholeheartedly. I was ready and still am ready to die for Jesus. So I didn't like when people would come into our group when I knew they were faking it. Yes. I didn't like it. Now, ultimately, my hope was to reach them for reals, but a lot of times people would come into the group because of other reasons, and I didn't like it either, man. That's because that means that if stuff really jumped off, that's going to be the Judas.
Yes, I mean, I see people the first day they come in on a murder case, they're Cristiano. You know what I mean? Hey, build up. I guess you can't predict how God's going to work, though.
You can't predict, but like I've had guys that were with me for 2, 3, 4 years, and then a week after they're out, they're back to doing their stuff again.
Yeah, so like I got sent to a yard, right? And everybody on that yard that was from up north were basically, picking up the Bible and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? They were playing that role. I'm like, man, like, I'm all for the Bible, but I'm not going to let no one tell me I have to cut my hole in. I'm not going to let nobody tell me I have to put my shirt on. I'm a man. It's not going to happen. So there was those that used it as a leverage for protection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that always sat wrong with me. Period. I mean, but so I was glad the first time I read the Bible all the way through. I don't know if I read it right, but I finished it. And
in the same way that in the past I would have said I'll die for the North. Is for me to be a Christian. If I can't say I'll die for Christ, then what am I doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I would have looked down upon anybody that would have left the cause. You know what I mean? And I've even told people in prison that didn't like what I was doing. And I even told them, I said, you know what? I get where you're coming from, because those are the consequences. But you know what? I weigh the consequence and I'd rather have Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it came down to. And here's the thing is I'm thinking I'm gonna get a knife a second later, but instead they respected it.
Because you didn't do it in a time of get up or in a place where you were behind enemy lines. So like you did it because it was in your heart.
Yeah.
See, I'm supportive of that. I don't care who it is. If that's what you believe, you should be able to do that at any moment. So I think your story is awesome that you made that choice and that you believed in it. It wasn't like you got sent to whatever prison where there's only 2 homeboys in the yard. You say, okay, now I'm a Christian. I want to be a pastor. No, you started in Sacramento County Jail, which is a northern stronghold, especially where you were housed at.
Yeah, I was in an active pod.
So your intentions, like I've told people over and over again, and this is always going to be the naysayers regardless. Your intentions to me were pure. You know what I'm saying? And even when you decided to do that, there was not really anybody on the higher ups that talked smack. Because see, the ones that are always talking smack are the ones that really weren't about nothing.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of it. Or the ones that always had animosity or issues with you. It's like with me. There's certain people that won't say nothing bad about me because they know me. They've experienced things with me. They know what I used to do and what I was about. And it's the ones that hated me from the get-go, but kept their mouth shut. Now they got all the reasons to attack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing I felt was kind of interesting to me. So, and that goes to show how much control these gangs have on our communities, man, that a person could not like you, but they're not going to take action on you because they don't want to suffer the consequences. As soon as you're no good, next thing you know, they're running their mouth to everybody.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was weird coming out in 2010 and seeing youngsters saying stuff. And I'm just like, bro, I said, you don't, and I wouldn't say to them, but in my mind and my heart, I'm like, there's higher ups that you will never talk to that are my co-defendants that I've had conversations with. And they don't have any issue with me. And these are the top of the top. I mean, you know who my co-defendants were. Yeah. And then you got this youngster that's, just has some red laces and wants to say something about me. But it's been 12 years, man. People have, I believe for the most part, have dropped it. I'm still serving God. I pastor a church. I'm in Modesto. People know where I'm at. You know what I mean? And it's been great. You know what I mean? And it's just been great. And I hope to be here as long as the Lord wants me to be here.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So we talked about the negative, but the positive, let me say the positive first. For me, the positive, as far as for me having a channel, is the fact that it is free and it allows us to, it allows me to share the gospel free. Because back in the day, in order to reach the masses, you had to be a televangelist. You had to be on TV, and it cost thousands and thousands of dollars a broadcast. And you got the Jim Bakkers and Jimmy Swaggart and all these people. Compared to now, all I need is a phone. And if I have a phone, then I can do a Bible study, a sermon, or whatnot. So I believe that the positive, what's that?
My camera went off out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I believe that having YouTube is a positive, because not only me as a Christian, but anybody can express their thoughts. They can use this as a memoir. They can use this as news. They can use this. And I think that because of YouTube, it has taken away leverage from the news channels that have an agenda. So we can really hear what is really happening. Somebody in Ukraine can film what's happening. Somebody in El Salvador, somebody, and I think for that sense, YouTube, to me, the positive outweighs the negative because we can all have a voice. You know what I mean? So that's my positive as far as YouTube creating YouTube.
Okay, my positive thing is this, man, and I don't usually put this stuff out there, but these are some of the stuff that I experienced. 2:30 in the morning, I get a phone call. You know, a man my age, son had just got shot. They pronounced him dead. You know what I'm saying? He was on the verge of losing it. He reached out to other people. No one answered the phone. They didn't answer his messages. I was able to have a conversation with this man. His son, somehow he was declared dead. He's alive now. You know, by the grace of God, I prayed with him and everything like that. But just the fact of him showing that he appreciates what I did for him. Another young man, let's just say he's in a very rural area. He was having issues with his kids and trying to interact and connect. You know, I mean, they're older now, and he wanted to be more involved in his community as far as what's going on. And so I gave him some advice. I told him to get proactive, and he sat there and he got involved in I think it was Pipeline, the prison project.
Yeah.
To keep something like the pipeline to keep people out of prison, kids.
Okay.
He ended up writing a whole segment about that. You know what I mean? Things like that were like, there's all kinds of different stories I have, man, to where I'm able to help people. And I can tell I make a difference because I get messages, people saying, you know what, your videos got me through a tough time. And then I think what people like is when I'm able to humanize who I am. You know what I mean? Because ain't nobody on YouTube, no superhero. They're not Superman. They're not nothing like that, man. You know, when people see that side of you and they see that you care, those are the most treasurable moments I've ever had. Because, like I said, you know, when I was going into recovery, my sponsor drilled that word to be altruistic, which is basically you do things without expecting the rewards. You do things because you care. And if the rewards come afterwards, so be it. You know what I mean? But it's still always good therapy for you when you get outside yourself and you help someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I can't fix myself. Sometimes I can look at myself and say, damn, I'm a mess. I have a lot of issues. I have a lot of drama. But just me going to help this person over here, it makes me feel good. You know, being of service, helping other people, you know, and I can't do things all the time. Like sometimes, I get calls all day sometimes, man. Sometimes it gets a little bit tiring, but I try my best to get back to everybody when they reach out to me, man. And I've had good conversations and I've seen people grow. It's just being appreciated. That means a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, the wife was texting. I think she needs me to pick her up. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Hello?
You guys see that? Who's pulling rank?
Do I need to get you? All right, I'll be right there. Bye.
We touched pretty good on the topic already, though. Let me add something real quick, though. The other positive things, though, man, is that I got to meet great people. I got to have relationships with people I never thought I'd have. You know, people have reached out to me that you at least expect supporting the channel. That's just awesome, man. That gave me a voice to speak what I feel my truth, and I'm able to do that a little bit more now because I'm doing things solo. Because sometimes I have to worry about if it affects my partner and whatnot. So now, if I have a feeling about something, I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to assess it as it comes. You know, within reason, though, and YouTube it's bad and good at the same time, man. There's a lot of stressful moments so that happen, man.
No, man, I appreciate you doing this on my channel, and I give you props for everything that you're doing. Not only you, but I've gotten to meet a lot of YouTubers, you know what I mean? And especially when with that boxing match, for me that was a positive because I got to meet a lot of you guys that did YouTube channels, and it's cool to see it grow. It's good to see it progress, you know what I mean? And I enjoy it, even though I don't chime in all the time. I don't jump on, but I'm watching, you know what I mean? And ultimately, I'm proud, man. I'm proud that regardless of what the content is, that it's doing something and it's growing, you know? So just give you props, bro. And I promise it won't be months again till we talk again. I just got, just the days and everything, but it's good to see you, man. And
definitely, I appreciate it. Just continue to just be you.
Yeah, and I consider you a friend,
Most
and we'll talk more often, man.
Most definitely, I appreciate that.
All right.